What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about ZBCN today. Zebec. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. It is the 6th day of August today, and here we are with about 22 hours left in the day, sitting at 00537. Moving down a little bit on the day, but you're overall in a very bullish posturing. I mean, I think if we're looking at this for what it is, you moved up, you had a little bit of consolidation, then you moved up, you had a little bit of consolidation, and then you moved up, and you had a little bit of consolidation, and well, you know how this goes, right? So we're gonna be moving up. This is more or less exactly what we expected, and I shouldn't say exactly what we expected. That's a little bit too kind, but more or less what we expected. Even whenever we were talking about the price back here, right? I did say that, you know, when we find our low, don't get too excited. That doesn't mean that we're just ripping through the roof. We're probably going to see some methodical movement, and methodical it has been, very methodical, very I think methodical is the right word, man. Yeah. Very, very, very well structured. Moving up, moving sideways, moving up, moving sideways, moving up, moving sideways. And you guess what's coming next? Moving up. We're at the point now where things could really get exciting. Okay. Again, back here, I emphasized a lot, and throughout this we've emphasized this, but mainly back there, I emphasized that once we find our low, it's not going to be through the races or straight to the races. It's not going to go through the roof like it was last time, right? It's going to take time. But we're at that point now where it's time to get excited for that through the roof moonshot kind of move, which we could be getting. I mean, hell, it could be today. It could be tomorrow. It could be any day from now. Maybe it's sometime next week or 2 weeks from now. But we're very close. In the grand scheme of this, you know, something that took place back at the end of May to here we are in the beginning of August now. We're very, very close from a time perspective and a price perspective. And I think it'll begin by it, I mean this magnificent next bit of rally that we've got going on. When I say bit of rally, I don't mean this. I don't mean a move like this or this. I'm talking about stuff like this, right? Talking about bigger movements here. Days that are, you know, 40% up, 30% up, stuff like that. Not these little 10 to 15% moves up that you've been accustomed to. Yes, it's exciting, but even 28%, that's going to be small compared to what we have coming over the coming days or weeks here. That's my expectation at least. But once we get above about 0063, let's round up, okay, so that it's a little bit more certain. Hold on. My daughter's crying, so I'm just waiting. I think everything's good now. When we get above 00632, let's say 00632, get above as in not just moving above and then coming down, but closing above. Let's get 2 days in a row. It might happen after the first day, but 2 days in a row of closing above 00632. Once we do that, we will be moving up in a very fast fashion, something that we haven't seen the likes of since May, up to 1 cent to 1.45 cent, okay? After that, we might consolidate a little bit, and then we'll continue to move up at a faster pace, right? When I say consolidate for a little bit, I do think that this consolidation will be bigger, right? These are small, tight consolidation phases. This one's kind of bigger, but something like this, right? Something like what we saw back here. Something even maybe like this kind of, right? But a little bit bigger. Nothing that's going to take like less than a week to do. It's probably going to be like a multi-week consolidation phase once we get up to about 1.45 to 1 cent itself, and then continue moving higher at the end of the month of August going into September, and maybe even in September itself, that's when we start moving higher, but up to this area of about 2 cents to 4.5 cents. So let me get rid of all this chicken scratch, and then we'll go over this again, okay? First target area, and this is the primary target zone as defined by the Fibs, 1272 to the 1618. You won't find this anywhere online. If you find it anywhere online, I would bet that the articles have come out after 2020. Would it be 2022? 2022. After late 2022, because this primary target zone, I've defined this. This isn't something that you're going to find anywhere online. If you do, maybe someone had this before I did. I don't know, but I'm taking credit for it because I've defined this as the primary target zone, the 1272 to the 1618. You'll not find that online anywhere. If you do, they're taking my stuff, which is cool. That's very flattering. The secondary target zone is the 1886 to the 2618 right here. And then the money zone's all the way up here at the 2886 to the 3113. This is what we define, right? There's not a tertiary zone technically. I mean there could be, right? Maybe the 2886 to the 3786 could be the tertiary zone. There could be a quaternary zone as well, but is that the right word? But once you start getting past that, odds are you've got other things to go off of, and it might be better to go off of those instead of this little fib back here, or a larger fib to go off of, something that goes from your high to low that predates it, whatever. Anyways, what I'm trying to say here, and it's kind of a poor way of getting to it. I'm just trying to explain my thought process here. I'm trying to say that first, when we see this magnificent rally take place, when we move up at a fast pace, we will see something like this. Boom, we'll move up to this area and then consolidate, something like this right here. And then we'll really pick up the pace and we'll move up either right here or all the way up to the 2618, something in this zone here, right? Primary zone, consolidate, secondary zone. And then consolidate. You probably consolidate more, and then you will you'll pull back a little bit. Maybe you pull back to about 1.4 cents. You pull all the way back down to this prior high here. Something like that could happen. Let's run the ideas here. Let's actually run the math, because I'm very convinced personally that we don't go above this line. And I'm very convinced that we will go above this line. So let's just run the numbers here, okay? And I want to actually take, just to help with the idea. Let's go from a high to a low here. High to low. 2272 right there above that. Oh, and the 2618's right there too. Don't you love that? I really do think ZBCN is going to go to 4.5 cents, you guys. But don't get your hopes too high. Maybe it stops at 2 cents. There's a reason that target exists, but man, I really do think you're going to get to 4.5 cents. You got two significant 2618s up there. If you were to go all the way up to 4.5 cents and you saw a drop akin to what you saw back here, right, from a high to a low, you dropped about, is that the right high? Let me see. This is the high, I think. High to low, you dropped about 67, 68%. The average drop, and I said it back here in crypto, it's anything from like 30% on the low end to 90% on the high end, but typically it's about 40 to 60%, and maybe you deviate 10% or there, 10% or something like that from there. So from the 2618, if you go up to 4.5 cents, what we're doing right now, in case it's not clear, because I feel like I've been very ill-spoken today. I know what I'm trying to say, I just don't know how to say it. What we're doing right now is not only projecting out where we're going to go, because we've had that for months, but where we're going to go to the upside, but where are we going to go when we consolidate? Let's try and project out what the next phase like this is going to look like after we top off. That's what we're trying to do, okay? Assume that it will probably take a month or two. Maybe it takes longer. We can consolidate longer. That's fine. It could take a couple weeks, but I would think 4 to 6 weeks probably of consolidation, just assuming that, because that's standard bull market behavior. Doesn't mean it has to be, but just a thought. I'll tell you what, if we move all the way up here and we move down like this, that could be it, and you're ripping back up, in a matter of 2 weeks. But with the idea that we go to the golden ratio, 40% drop or more, 40% would take you back down to about 2.7 cents. If we see a 60 to 70, let's say 70% drop, that's 1.3 cents. I don't know, man. If you go all the way up to 4.5 cents, you're not coming back to test this high. That's an 84% drop. That's not happening. But I could see you coming back to test that golden ratio. And that's very akin to this drop here. That's like pinpoint accurate. Wouldn't that be perfect too? Going from the 2618 down to the 1618. So serendipitous with the golden ratios. Did you find support or resistance at this golden ratio? No way. That's not the golden ratio. There's no way. So close. Come on. No, it's the 1414. Okay, cool. That would have blown my mind right there. Yeah. So if we go all the way up to 4.5 cents, you will be pulling back down to, I think I like that, 1.45 cents for support. I like that. Prior resistance here, if it goes the way that I think it'll go. We're doing a lot of assuming here. What if you don't stop there? What if you go to something just below or just above 3 cents, which is also kind of in that realm that I would expect? Maybe you pull back down to about 1 cent. Psychological support could happen, right? Maybe at a bare minimum, you would see something at the 1886200 level at about 2 cents, also significant. Maybe you do find support still at that golden ratio zone, and instead of a 67% drop, it's a 53% drop. Anything and everything in between. So I don't know. That's just for fun. We'll see how this ages. I'll remember this one. I'll put this, I'll like play it back whenever it's time. But I would assume that we move up. Sometime in September, we'll top off. And then probably going into October, we will have our low formed. So we'll move up something like this, come down into October, have our low formed around here's my thoughts, something in this area. And then we'll continue to rally. Going into the end of the year, you should be above 10 cents by the end of the year. I wouldn't be surprised you're at 14 to 17 cents ZBCN by the end of this year. Things should be really picking up the pace, man. You should really, really be picking up the pace. What would this be overall if you do go to 4.5 cents low to high? I mean, that's a 20x move right there. You did a 10x move first, 20x move second. You could see a larger move after that. Things do pick up as the market continues on, guys. Euphoria and alt season just rallying like this. Top performers, they continue to top perform and even pick up the pace. I got nothing else, man. I'm just talking at this point, but all that to say, if we're actually talking about the maybe the short-term stuff real quick, there's a reason why we're talking about the upside, guys, so much. We're probably going to be moving up. MACD looks good. Stochastics look good. RSI, I might chill for a little bit, and that's okay. You know, if you come down, you're going to probably, you'll stay above 0.05. You're at 0.053, so nothing intense. 4-hour time frame. You look bullish. I'm just saying on the price action, I think you look bullish. 4-hour RSI, stochastics, MACD all look bullish. Daily time frame also looks bullish. So I don't know, man. Move down a little bit today. I doubt that you get below 0.05. It's just a matter of time before you start breaking out. And again, the area to watch for is 0.0672. 0.0632. I'm sorry. 0.0632 on a daily basis. Once you close above there, it's time to start getting excited. Excited for what? The primary target zone, right? 1.45 cents to 1 cent itself. Okay. Something in this zone, consolidate for a little bit, and then move up to that secondary area, the 1886 to 2618 area, which I think really you'll be moving up to this zone, not this area. You might find some turbulence there, but overall moving up. I got nothing else. Hit the like button, subscribe, take care of yourselves, all right? Bye-bye.